Congressman Upshaw come to the meeting out there in California. You heard the testimony? Never heard him in my life. He's one of your Georgia men down here. And standing where there's thousands times thousands of people, just saw a little boy playing on a haystack and began to say what I saw. There he was sitting in a wheelchair back there. I guess there's 150, 200 wheelchairs sitting there. I never heard of the man. He said, "Son, how did you know me?" I said, "I don't know you." He said, "Will I ever get well?" I said, "I can't tell you, sir. I don't know that." And when he said, I said, "I couldn't tell you." Well, he said, I was the vice president of the Southern Baptist Convention, and said, "You know who sent me here?" I said, "I have no idea." He said, "The same man that ordained you in the Baptist church, Dr. Roy Davis." I've seen a little doctor with tortoiseshell glasses on, a little white thing around his up here, little jacket. He's shaking his head like this, standing right out in front of me. I looked down and he'd operate on a little colored girl about 5 or 6 years old and it paralyzed her. And she was paralyzed. And I said, I called, I said, "I see a little doctor that's operating on a colored child. Way down, way down." I heard an old typical Aunt Jemima raise up down there with let out a big scream, and she grabbed the stretcher. Here she come knocking ushers right and left, pulling that little child. Said, "Lordy mercy, that was my child." Her screaming, the tears coming off those big black cheeks, you know. She said, "Oh, Lordy parson, that was my child. Here it is." I said, "That's right, Auntie." Said, "Will my baby get well?" I said, "I can't tell you. I don't know. I can only say what I see." Looked like a black streak coming right across. I woke up going down to, looked like an alley or something. Here went this little girl with a doll on her arms rocking it. Going down the alley. Oh, brother. Oh, devils of hell couldn't stop it then. God had already said it. That's right. I said, "Auntie, the Lord Jesus has healed your child, your prayer, not mine. You're the ones praying. I've never even offered prayer for the child, but God has heard your prayer. I see a vision of the child." She said, "Parson, do you mean to tell me that my baby will walk?" I said, "It's healed now." Little baby said, "Look at here, Mother." Jumped up and began to run around and women fainting and everything in the vision. Here went that old congressman, 80-something years old, bound 66 years in a wheelchair. He was going along with a brown pinstripe suit on, tipping his hat like this to people in the vision. And I said, "Congressman, though for all these years, you're 17 when you fell. It's seemingly that God would have healed you then when your bones were soft and nimble. But here you are, 86, and your bones are old and brittle. But God has now chose to heal you. And you're healed, thus saith the Lord." He said, "Sir, do you mean that I am now well?" I said, "That's thus saith the Lord." Out of the wheelchair he come, run to the platform, reached down and touched his toes, and crossing the United States, Great Britain, and everywhere, testifying to the power of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Brother, you're too late with your unbelief, see? Christ has raised from the dead. He meets with man. He counsels with them. He's the same.